As Tom has already recognized the mine rescue teams, the wives, the children, as I stand here before you tonight, I've been where you're at. I know exactly what you're doing. I thank God for you each and every day. For if it wasn't for you that steps up to the plate and takes this upon yourself to volunteer to be a mine rescue member in this state, I understand and realize that we couldn't mine coal in this state because it's our law that we have to have mine rescue teams to cover our coal mines. And had it not be for you all that's sitting in this room tonight, there'd be a lot of coal miners that would be out of work. And when coal miners is out of work, that means that everybody's having a bad day in this state. Because then the children that's in this state don't get Christmas gifts. The children that's in this state don't get new clothes. You know, it's always an honor to be able to stand before you, because I want to tell you a story. The other day, I know and realize that as we read the papers, as I told you in Pikeville here just a while back, as we read the papers, as we watch the TVs, it seems like that there's always somebody somewhere bashing coal and bashing the state of Kentucky and bashing our hard-working people that gets out here to provide for their family. It seems like there's always something that they've got to say about coal. Well, let me remind you tonight that had it not been for coal miners and on the backs of men and women like yourself, the United States of America would not have won World War I or World War II, because coal is what built this nation, and coal is what won the wars when this nation went over to fight. It's very, very, very important tonight that you realize how big a role that you play, not only in your family, in your community, or in your state, but also in the country that you live in tonight. It's very important that you realize just how important your job is to us in this state. Now, I would like to say to the wives and to the children, as a mine rescue team member myself, I know what you guys go through. I go back to 2004, Christmas night. I was in my son's bedroom putting toys together. And the phone rung about 12:30 and they said, "Freddy, we got a coal mine on fire." I know what it's like to leave out of the house and walk down the sidewalk and look back at your wife and your children, and there's tears running down their cheek, scared to death knowing where Daddy's going, but yet Daddy is stepping out to provide for his family and taking care of his family, because that's what a real man is supposed to be doing. So as you read the papers and as you watch the TVs, I want you to know tonight, don't you get discouraged, even though you might be the minority in our country, in the United States of America today. The hard-working men and women that keeps this country going, no doubt in my mind, is the minority. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to keep your head held high. Keep your chest stuck out, because had it not been for people like you, we couldn't be here tonight. There is no way in the world that this country could stay afloat, because it's by the taxes that you pay that keeps me and everybody in Washington and everybody in Frankfurt and everybody in these other jobs in a job. So you be proud of what you do. Be proud. I thank God for coal miners tonight. I'm not ashamed to stand here and tell you that there's three loves in my life: Jesus Christ, my family, and a coal miner. Them's the loves in my life, I'll tell you right now. And the most important thing, as I've told my inspectors and my analysts, listen, the most important thing in every day of your life when you wake up to go out and do your job in this state, know that when you pull in your driveway, you've done something good on your job that day to help that coal miner get back home to his wife and children. And let me tell you something. Another time I remember in mine rescue, May the 20th, 2006, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I never will forget that call that led us into Harlan County, Kentucky Derby. That was a horrible day to look upon 5 of our fellow coal miners and have to put them in a body bag. That was a hard day, Terry. But do you know the hardest part of that whole day? Having to go to that church house. And when you walk into that church house, I never will forget the guy that had this job before me said, you need to go to the church house and meet with the families. I never will forget walking into that church house and seeing brothers and sisters and wives and children and having to stand there and look at them and say, we're very sorry, but our rescue has turned into a recovery. That was probably the hardest day that I've ever had in my life on any job. So what I want to say to you today is, in this state, let's not be reactive to coal mine safety. Let's be proactive. Instead of spending all of our time teaching our coal miners on what to do when they blow the mine up, let's teach our coal miners, let's just don't blow the mine up. How about that? I think that's where we need to be. Let's just not blow that mine up, and we don't have to worry about what we're going to do after we blow it up. See, we've started something here, and I would ask you to take advantage of it if you have an operation in our state. We have an analyst program in the state of Kentucky, and that's exactly what I want our analysts to be. I want our analysts to be proactive. If we've got a young foreman out there that needs some extra help, if we've got a new foreman that you might not know his habits, you can call our analyst in on a training session. They can come out to your coal mine and drop in if you need to keep them there 2 days, if you need to keep them there a week, if you need to keep them there 2 weeks. I would much rather see him there teaching and training these coal miners and these foremans instead of see him there after somebody has died or after somebody's been seriously hurt, so we can say, well, it was his fault. I'm not looking for the blame game. We've played that too long. Let's all come together on this ship and realize that we're all on one big ship. And if we don't get together, and if we keep pulling and tugging at each other, guess what's going to happen? The ship's going to sink, and everybody on it's going to drown. We better work together as MSHA, as Office of Mine Safety and Licensing, as industry. We all better come together as one and realize and know just where we need to be, because the most important part of the day is every coal miner go home to his family. Every coal miner go home to his family at the end of his day. That's a hard-working man. He deserves a safe place to work. But let me tell you something. Whose responsibility is safety? It's each and every person you look at in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, you realize and know that you are your safety director. Danny Knott read a poem up here a few minutes ago that said, it begins with me, Ronnie Craig. And that's where it begins. That's where safety begins. For so long now, we've pointed fingers at whose fault it is of why somebody's got hurt or somebody's died. It's time that we all come together and realize we're all coal miners, Every single one of us. I started out $6 an hour in Phelps, Kentucky, shoveling belt line. It's time that we realize, listen, this is our bread and butter in this state. And in order to keep coal miners working, in order to keep children eating, in order to keep the economy going, we have to pull together, work together, and be there one for another, and not be against each other, but be for each other. And realize that we're all on the same team here tonight. And until we come to that, it's going to be hard. We're going to keep having struggles. We're going to have coal miners that's going to keep going out to work and going to have to walk in and look at their wife and children and say, I no longer have a job. Our jobs is shut down. That's a sad day. Let me tell you what kind of people coal miners are. In case you're here tonight, maybe from the news media or the TV or whatever, let me tell you about coal miners. They have what they call here in July, Christmas in July for the Shriners' children. Now, I'm from East Kentucky, but I've got a place here in Lexington now. And on my way from East Kentucky that day on Saturday, I'm driving up the Mountain Parkway, and I seen motorcycles, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Hondas. I seen the whole way from Pikeville all the way to Lexington. You know where they was heading? They was heading from Shriners back to East Kentucky. You know where they had been? They'd been delivering gifts to the children over. And guess what? Something I noticed about on every motorcycle I seen, reflective stripes. I looked at my wife and I said, look there, that's what coal miners do for people. That's what coal miners is about. I'm proud to be a coal miner. I hope you're proud to be a coal miner tonight. But my prayer is that the most important thing in your life, you go home to your family. And my rescue teams, I hope that if I meet you in the state of Kentucky, that it's competing at a competition and it's not in a coal mine, unfortunately, trying to put a mine fire out or recover a body. And we can do that if we'll work together. Do I believe in zero fatalities? Absolutely, I believe in zero fatalities. But it all starts with Danny Knott's poem. It starts with us. It starts with us. Listen, I love you. I thank God for you. On behalf of the state of Kentucky, on behalf of the Office of Mine Safety and Licensing, I want to give you 2 thumbs up here and tell you to keep up what you're doing and to keep your head up and keep your chest out, because I tell you right now, you provide for your family, you do the best you can, and God will do the rest. Thank God for you tonight.